on that note, I wanted to ask you, since you're a driver who's raced at Daytona in a variety of vehicles, I need to find the tweet. If I can find it, I'll put it up on the YouTube version of this show right here. But I saw a tweet that kind of reminded me that Denny Hamlin, he's won 3 Daytona 500s in the last like 6-7 years, but he's also been really close to winning like 3 or 4 more. And everyone looks at super speedway racing as being kind of fluky. There's a big wreck that can easily take out all the best cars. That's not even a single driver's fault. And so I think a lot of people believe plate racing, if you will, is completely random. But I think the great super speedway racers seem to overcome that randomness and still find themselves near the front. Like you mentioned to me a moment ago while we were listening to the Suarez interview, that McDowell always seems to be there at the end of these super speedway races. And obviously he won a Daytona 500 2 years ago now. So as a driver, when people say, oh, plate racing's just random, like it doesn't really take any traditional skill, like what, I'm not trying to like light a fire inside you here, but like, what do you say to that? What is your response?
I think any driver that says that, they just don't get how to race plate races. They just don't get it.
Do you think it's like they just don't buy into it? Because I've heard, like, not to throw him under the bus, I heard Christopher Bell in a different podcast recently say that he hates super speedway racing, just despises it. And I get it. Like, he's a dirt guy, completely goes against what he's learned how to do his whole life, probably. But like, do you think he's just not buying in? He's just not accepting it, or is it?
I guess. I mean, Christopher Bell, don't be mad at me for saying this, but like, I just think that's dumb. It's not the same type style of racing where we're at a short track or we're at a 1.5 miles and you're braking and you're having to move around the track and you're literally like physically driving the car to create the speed. You're not doing that. Like at Daytona, you're wide open, but there's a lot of decisions being made. There's a lot of anticipating that's being made. And that in itself is a skill, to be able to see things happen before they happen and understand where to position yourself in order to get the finish or win the race. Like that is a skill. And I think there are a lot of guys that have it, and maybe the ones that aren't buying in just struggle with that at this point in their career, and maybe they'll find it, right? Like, I mean, Dale Jr., a good example. Dale Sr., good example. Like, so many good guys. Denny Hamlin is, I mean, just listen to Denny when he calls some of the Xfinity races and things he's saying and talking about the side drafting and decisions and where to move. Like, that's all skill that you have learned through time and experience and studying film, which to me is, I mean, that's a learned, earned skill. So I think there's many drivers that are good, that are really good at it. I mean, I think Christopher Buescher for a long time is always somehow he's always at the front at the end of these races, even when he ran Xfinity full time.
Won a dual race last year.
Yeah, won a dual race. That is it's, these races are not easy to win. That's why when you see someone repetitively win them, that something's up. Justin Haley in the colleague cars. I mean, something's up. You can't.
He's got like 4 of these trophies, something like that.
Yeah, he's very good at anticipating what is going to happen and then position himself. And there's one of the last ones he won at Daytona, I think, you can literally watch him make the decision to go where he goes. Like, he sits, makes a decision, and that was the right decision, won the race. It's like, wow, because he could have made a couple of different choices, and the decision he did make ultimately is what made him win the race. So those, it's just about anticipating, and that is a skill in learning how things happen over time, and what certain drivers will do, things like that. You definitely have to have some things go your way. You need help from other individuals, but there's a skill in forcing other people to help you too at the plate tracks. And that doesn't get talked about that much either, but it's just that type of style of racing. It's very mental. It's very mentally exhausting, but it's a mental race, and you have to miss wrecks. There's a lot of things that come into luck. McDowell winning the 500, yes, they wrecked in front of him and he went through the wreck and won the race, but he was still in third in the last lap of the Daytona 500. He was in position pushing, to have a shot at winning anyways.
He was pushing Brad, I think, to the potential win. Like, he was there.
Correct. So no matter what, you have to put yourself in a position to win those races, and that's a skill. Granted, you still need some luck to win them because you could get taken out.
You need luck to win any race.
Race.
Arguably a little more at the super speedways, but yeah.
Correct.
Well, that's interesting to hear a driver's perspective.